Hi, my name is Matthew Bellisario. Thanks for coming by the BellisarioSonic YouTube channel from the heart of the Deep South on the outskirts of Birmingham, Alabama, where we talk about music, records, do record reviews, interviews, and more, trying to help keep jazz alive one review at a time, one share at a time by you guys out there. I appreciate you guys supporting the channel. Today, a completely different type of video because I was asked not too long ago about why I don't do negative reviews, because people that know me know that I can be pretty critical on music that I don't like, or musicians that I don't like, and especially particular ones, which I'm going to talk about here in a minute, of arrogant musicians I can't stand. So I am going to go into that on this video, but I want to address first, why don't I do a lot of critical or negative reviews? And it's a good question, because people are telling me, look, there'd be way more. People love controversy on YouTube. You know, they want controversial videos. They want things that are, you know, somebody attacking somebody or somebody tearing somebody down. That would get you way more views and people would come to your channel more. And so I had to give this a little bit of thought. And so I want to address this particular thing on this video. So I will tell you, if you're just new here, most of my videos here are promoting working jazz artists, and I'm a person that loves to share music with other people. I have since I was a kid. So when I discover a new album, that's kind of what this channel is about, is me just sharing great music with you guys and promoting records I think should be heard by more people. Mostly in the jazz genre, although I will review other genres of music as well, mostly vinyl records. But let's get back to this, why I don't do negative reviews. In other words, why do I put out why this album sucks, or do some kind of clickbait like a lot of these other YouTube channels will do. I won't name any names, but they'll put something up, you know, they will grab a negative comment about something, and that will bring people into their video, and then they'll compare musicians and tear this guy down and say how great this other guy is, like it's a competition. That's one thing I can't stand to see, is people like acting like music's a competition. It's an art form. And it's very subjective. And you might like something I don't like. I might like something you don't like. I think there is some objectivity when we talk about somebody's ability to play their instrument. I think that's something we can talk about. But I don't do a lot of negative reviews. Why? I'm going to give you a list here, explain why, and then I'm going to close out the video by telling you the things that make me most angry about musicians and why I would critique them. And it's based on arrogance. Who I perceive to be as arrogant musicians, and their ability to play their instrument or perform is nowhere near the level of their arrogance. So I'm going to talk about that. You won't see too many videos like this on this channel, but I did want to do this today. Number one, why don't I do negative reviews? First of all, I don't think it's objectively necessary. If you come on this channel because you're interested in seeing what album I'm reviewing, you're going to listen to me. You talk about the record. I'm going to play the record for you guys, as I always do, and I'm going to give you my reaction about it, how it sounds, what kind of pressing it is. I will try to give you as objective review as I can of it. And of course, I already like the music because I buy almost all of my records. So none of them are given, or very few are given to me. And when they're given to me, I let you know. If I'm going to buy a record, I'm going to buy it because I like the music that's on it. I'm not going to buy a record that I don't like just so I can put up a video and rip it apart. So, yeah, I give my opinion on this channel, but it's largely revolves around the music that I love and the music I love to share with you guys. So I don't think it's really objectively necessary for me to make videos that are just why this album sucks. Number two, I don't like tearing apart people's art, even if I don't like it. And especially when it comes to music, because I'm a musician myself. I've recorded music over my life on all these different recording mediums, going all the way back to cassette tapes, multi-tracking. And to make a long story short, I know how much work it is to record, to write music that you're happy with, and then to have some buffoon like me come on a channel and rip all your artistic work apart that it may have taken you years to do is not a cool thing to do. So I don't like doing that. I don't want to just come on and tear somebody's art apart if I don't like it, because that's not really a cool thing to do. And somebody may have spent a lot of time, and just because it's not my cup of tea doesn't mean somebody else might not like it. Now, again, I don't mind telling people, look, I don't like this or whatever, but I'm going to do it in an objective way if I have something to say about someone's art. Okay, so that's why I don't want to do that. Number three, Would I get more views? And the answer is yes. If I did negative reviews or negative videos about stuff, I would definitely get more traffic to my website. And that's clearly evident by a lot of other channels that you see. But in thinking about that, it's like, okay, am I going to tear apart another artist so that I can get more views to my channel so that I can promote an artist that I do like? And I thought about this, and there's certainly some merit to that, right? It's like, well, it makes sense. If I can draw a bunch of people to my channel because I give my passionate disdain for this album or this artist, then I'll have more people that will come to my channel that will look at the albums that I do like, and that those would get more views. But I thought about this, and I'm like, I'm not going to promote one artist at the expense of tearing apart another artist. Okay, I'm just not going to do that. I don't think, again, it's not a classy thing to do, and I'm not going to, to do that. I'm not going to just go target one jazz guy or any genre. And tear apart his album, his artwork, say this sucks and this is what the good stuff is. I really just come out and tell you what the good stuff is. So that's what this channel again is about. So I'm not going to tear apart one artist to promote another artist. All right. Number 4, does that mean I'm never critical? Of course I'm critical at times. And again, when I do these reviews, I'm trying to do an objective review. If I have a bad pressing or noisy pressing, I'll let you guys know that. If I don't like the particular mix, I'll make comments about that. I wish they would have done this, or I'll tell you objectively how the thing was mixed. You can get an idea whether or not you're going to like that kind of thing. So I try to keep things objective as possible. Now, if there's one thing I am critical of, that is arrogant musicians. I can't stand arrogant musicians in general, but even more so when you have arrogant musicians that I consider to be crappy musicians and crappy songwriters and crappy performers. And so when you have that coupled together, and again, this is a personal opinion, but I'm going to give you mine here on some of the most arrogant musicians who have no business being arrogant. So I'm going to close out the video with that. Now, I've interviewed a ton of people on this channel, had great conversations with all these wonderful, for the most part, almost all jazz artists. And one thing they've been is very, very down to earth, very humble people. That's one thing I like about jazz is when it comes to looking at pop music and rock music and jazz musicians, and I'm not saying you can never have an arrogant jazz musician. That's not what I'm saying. But I'm saying on a whole, you get a lot more arrogant rock pop musicians than you do jazz musicians. And that may be just because of the popularity that pop rock artists get, that their head blows up and they think they're better than they are. That kind of thing certainly could be part of it. And when it comes to jazz musicians, you don't really get that as much where they have such inflated egos, although that, I'm not saying it's never happened because I've read stories about some jazz musicians that had quite big egos. But I would say for the most part, jazz musicians are more down to earth than rock musicians, and they're better musicians. So where does this all come? It comes to these arrogant musicians that I'm going to talk about that I can't stand, and they do all fall into that rock pop genre. And so I'm going to go down the list here and tell you why I can't stand these particular artists. And it's nothing on a personal level as far as like who they are as people, because I don't obviously know them personally. It's how they carry themselves across to us as the public, how they come across in their interviews, how they come across on stage, how they come across on their videos and everything else. So I'm going to talk about that and talk about why I can't stand these particular guys. These might be people that you really like. Leave your comments. We're free to disagree, right? So let's go down the list. Number 1, I can't stand David Lee Roth. Oh, where do I even begin to talk about this clown? Can't sing. Yowza. Ooh, ow. Kicking up his legs and and the guy can't sing worth a crap. Guy's terrible. The guy's a freaking sideshow clown on stage. And now he's trying to make this big comeback. And it's like, you sound even worse than you did freaking 25 years ago. And you sounded like crap then live. You'll go listen to their live stuff. They're terrible. So a lot of people, Van Halen fans out there, are going to be like, oh my gosh. Well, that's my opinion. I can't stand David Lee Roth. Next, I can't stand Steven Tyler. Another arrogant guy. This guy, a lot of nerve this guy had. The Aerosmith. This is verified. You can go, these bands that were opening up for Aerosmith back in the 70s and 80s, they would go out and try to sabotage their opening acts so that they wouldn't upstage them. That's how insecure Steven Tyler was. So going out there trying to unplug people. What a punk. And then the way he comes across on stage, strutting around with his little tassels and everything, and the guy can't sing. Yeah, him and Perry can come up with a couple of formulaic power ballads, okay, that they repeated over and over again. Unbelievable. I mean, the guy is, I can't stand Steven Tyler. And again, these are regarding them as performers, their public persona, okay? Joe Perry, another guy I can't stand. Another arrogant guy that just comes across as such a pompous jerk in his interviews. You know, it's just unbelievable. And the guy can't play his instrument. I'm not that great on guitar, and I would challenge Joe Perry any day to a guitar playoff. Guy sucks. Guys, and here's the thing that even makes me even matter is that the guy has this guitar tech. Like in almost every other song, he's got another guitar. They bring it out. He's got this real expensive guitar. He's got to go out and show off to everybody and go out there in his little costume. And the guy can't freaking play guitar. Terrible. Anyway, another guy I can't stand. Number 4, the great poser. Might be a fun guy to hang out with. Might be a cool dude. Johnny Depp. When it comes to him as a guitar player on stage, and I can't stand the guy. Can't play guitar. Again, I'm a mediocre guitar player. I take any day challenge to play Johnny Depp. You can't play guitar. And then the nerve to dress up like with his hat and his whole thing, like he looks like almost like a morph Keith Richards. He's got his guitar hanging down to his ankles, and he's out there playing. When it comes to the poser, dude, just why do you do that? Don't dress like that. Don't come across like you're some great rock star, because you're not, and you can't play your instrument. Go home and learn how to play your instrument first before you dress up like that and come out there. That was one thing that I was disappointed. I'm a huge Jeff Beck fan. An incredible guitar player. Why maybe Johnny's a fun guy to hang out with. That's why Jeff Beck, wanted to have him on the stage with him and whatever. But it wasn't because of his guitar playing, I can tell you that. All right, next, Kurt Cobain. All right, for all you Nirvana fans out there, if you like them, fine. I can't stand them. I can't stand Nirvana. I can't stand Kurt Cobain. I can't stand his grating, non-singing voice. He couldn't play guitar. His songs suck. Just a dismal character. Always come across as this arrogant punk on television. Can't stand Kurt Cobain. No business being arrogant. Horrible. Next, another one of the great all-time arrogant clowns, because he dressed like a clown on stage, Gene Simmons. Another guy, can't play his instrument. I can barely play bass, and I can play better than Gene Simmons. Gene Simmons can't play the freaking bass. Horrible. And the songs are so juvenile. Yeah, maybe, when I was 15 years old, I did a video about Kiss when I was younger, how I listened to them, but how I outgrew them very quickly. It's because their songs are infantile and they're boring. And Gene Simmons comes across as this, I am a rock god. I'm very elegant speaker. I am really the one that created all this. Me and Paul, we are the great geniuses of all time in rock music. We are the kings. No, you're not. You can't play your instrument. Your songs suck. You guys did a great job at marketing. There you have it. Kanye West. What another freaking jester clown. The guy can't sing. It sounds like he's on a toilet when you listen to his music. It's absolutely awful. Terrible. The guy, I wouldn't even classify him as a musician or a performer. The guy's a freaking clown, a jester. Can't write music, can't sing, and the guy is one of the most arrogant people on the face of the earth. And has no business being arrogant, because there's nothing to be arrogant about. All right, next, Katy Perry. I listen to a lot of these different pop artists. Britney Spears. I've listened to Taylor Swift. What's her name? Dua Lipa, or whatever you would call it. I go online and I'll watch different videos just to see what the hype is about. And Katy Perry, I'm like, what business does this lady have on stage? Go listen to her live performances. She can't sing worth a crap. Terrible singer. No voice. Can't perform. If she wasn't out there in her lingerie or whatever she's wearing, no one would be paid any attention to her whatsoever. And the music just sucks. It's so boring. So when that's combined with that, and then you see her attitude in the public, how arrogant she is, it's like, where on earth do you get your arrogance? Katy Perry, yeah, terrible. Another one I could stand. And this guy just, again, comes across as such a punk. And his music sucks and he can't sing. Iggy Pop. What in the heck does anybody see in Iggy Pop? Guy can't sing. The guy's just a freaking punk on stage. The guy's a punk when he's interviewed. He's just comes across as a complete jerk to me. But more importantly, he can't sing. I mean, anyway, can't stand Iggy Pop. Next, the Ramones. And why do I bring them up? Because they can't play. And people think the accolades that they get as being this great rock band, punk band. Every single song sounds the freaking same. And they all think they're great. None of them can play their instruments. Power chords, boring crap. Like every record sounds the same. It's just garbage. Can't stand the Ramones. Next one I can't stand. It was a great thing that Ozzy left them because Black Sabbath I can never stand. I can't stand their music. It's boring. These power chords, and they just came across as like they were something when their music sucked. And I see all these on the vinyl community. How great Black Sabbath, they're out again, reissues, and it was garbage when it came out the first time, let alone the fifth time here remastered on vinyl and all this crap. It's just garbage. And then the whole thing of Tony Iommi, thinks he's a great guitar player, and then he's praised in the Rolling Stone as one of the great guitar players. That guy's not a good guitar player. Have you listened to what he's playing? It's so freaking simplistic and boring. And it's, again, the same crap over and over again. So, another Black Sabbath can't stand. Finally, let's talk about one of my all-time hated bands, Motley Crue. Only one guy in there that I consider to be a pretty good musician. That was Mick Mars, the guitar player, who I have some respect for. The other three freaking clowns that he got stuck with in that band, I could never stand any of them. Number one, Vince Neil, could never sing that well live. Now he's even worse. He can't even come close to hitting any of the notes he could hit back when they were popular. Can't stand Nikki Sixx, who's another punk that can't play bass. Terrible bass player, terrible songwriter. Their songs just suck. And then the Take the Cake, the most arrogant drummer, who's not even a great drummer, one of the most arrogant punks on the face of the earth, and that's Tommy Lee. Can't stand the guy, was always a bombastic jerk in the media, always came across as like he was the king, great drummer, and the guy with his little freaking churning drum kits and all this crap. The guy's a freaking another clown that can barely play his drums. I mean, compare him to all the great drummers. Compare him to Simon Phillips and Neil Peart and all these other guys. He's a freaking infantile clown is what he is. All right. So that is my video on the arrogant musicians I can't stand and why I don't do a lot of negative reviews. So we'll talk to you later on. I appreciate you guys joining me. This is a kind of an anomaly of a video. It's just something I wanted to address, and coming up, a lot of great jazz reviews coming your way. And we'll see you soon. Happy listening. Take care.